The silent test of respect. Imagine someone looking at you, but not truly seeing you. Their eyes pass right through you, as if you were invisible. There's no anger, no hate, not even disappointment, only emptiness. And that emptiness is worse than any argument, because it means something inside has quietly broken. Not from a big mistake, not from one bad moment, but from something deeper. You stopped being a man worth taking seriously. Schopenhauer said, "The moment that defines a man." The deepest pain, Schopenhauer once said, is not born from hatred, but from insignificance. Because when someone hates you, you still exist in their world. But when you become insignificant, you simply stop existing. You fade into the background of their life, like a voice they no longer hear, a presence that no longer carries weight. And that is where many men find themselves today, not hated, not rejected, just overlooked. Not because of one big mistake, but because somewhere along the line, they stopped being a man worth taking seriously. I'm not here to give you cheap motivation or tricks to get someone back. I'm here to reveal something far deeper, the hidden architecture of respect. Why some men walk into a room and naturally command attention while others spend their lives chasing scraps of it. And what I'm about to tell you isn't comforting, but it is the truth. There is a silent moment that defines everything. A moment she doesn't announce, a test she never verbalizes. It happens quietly, when she watches how you handle the unexpected. Maybe it's a sudden change of plans, a careless comment, or a subtle challenge meant to shake you. Your reaction in that instant tells her everything she needs to know. Because she's not looking for perfection, she's looking for stability, for signs that you can stay composed when things don't go your way. Most men crumble when the world doesn't match their expectations. They overreact, panic, defend, explain. Their tone changes, their energy breaks, and in that moment, something inside her shifts. Because she's not just watching, she's feeling. Her instincts register something ancient. This man cannot be trusted to stay centered when life becomes uncertain. That's when respect begins to die. But when a man remains calm, when he breathes through the discomfort, answers with measured silence, and refuses to be pulled out of his center, something powerful happens. Her nervous system relaxes, her trust deepens. Because now she's not standing beside another child in a man's body, she's standing beside someone anchored. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor who ruled through wars, betrayals, and plagues, once wrote, "You cannot control what happens, but you can always control how you respond." That single truth separates the respected from the forgotten. One man lives as a slave to circumstance, the other walks through it with quiet authority. It's not about pretending to be emotionless, it's about mastering your response. Because true stability isn't the absence of emotion, it's the presence of control. And that is what every woman, every person instinctively searches for, not your charm, not your money, not your words, but the center you hold when the world starts to shake. The test of composure. You cannot control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. That is the line that separates the respected from the forgotten. One man lives at the mercy of events. He reacts, complains, and blames the world for his condition. The other walks through chaos unshaken, like a mountain surrounded by storm. When a man panics at small setbacks, when his tone cracks or his emotions spill out uncontrollably, he reveals something deeper than weakness. He shows that he has no control over himself. And a man who cannot govern his own emotions will always be ruled by someone else's. If he can't stay steady when plans fail, if he loses his calm over trivial things, how could he possibly hold his center when life truly begins to test him? She senses this instantly, not through thought, not through logic, but through instinct. A signal deep in her body whispers, "This man cannot protect me from the storm, because he is the storm." And in that moment, something invisible shifts. Attraction cools, respect fades, not because you did something wrong, but because your energy told the truth your words tried to hide. Then there's the other kind of man, the one who, when everything falls apart, simply breathes. He doesn't rush to defend himself, he doesn't explode or chase validation, he pauses, observes. And from that stillness, he decides what to do next. That calmness is not a trick, it's not fake confidence. It's the result of years spent mastering himself, his thoughts, his impulses, his reactions. Seneca called it the discipline of tranquility. He wrote that real freedom is not the power to do whatever you want. That is the man who earns respect without asking for it, because his energy communicates something primal. I am not controlled by chaos, I am centered within it. When a woman feels that presence, her whole nervous system softens. It's not fear or dominance, it's safety. A feeling that this man doesn't need to overpower life because he already commands himself. That's the silent test every man faces. And most fail it, not because they are weak, but because they never learn to pause before they react. In a world where everyone is constantly triggered, the man who stays calm becomes magnetic. His composure feels different, rare, sacred even. He doesn't need to prove his worth, he embodies it. Because true strength isn't loud, it doesn't shout or seek attention, it breathes slowly, observes deeply, and moves deliberately. And that kind of strength, the quiet, disciplined kind, cannot be faked. The weight of dependence. Ortega y Gasset said, "Love is the effort to turn a stranger into meaning. But when that effort becomes dependence, it no longer feels like love, it feels like pressure. A woman can sense it long before words are spoken. That silent expectation that her attention must heal your loneliness, that her approval must complete your identity. What begins as affection slowly turns into a burden. Because when a man needs someone to validate him, he's already surrendered his power. He's no longer choosing love, he's chasing it. And nothing kills attraction faster than the energy of need. Respect cannot grow where there is dependency, because dependency always smells like fear. Fear of being alone, fear of rejection, fear of facing the mirror and meeting the emptiness within. That's why true respect begins in solitude. When a man can sit in silence without reaching for distraction, validation, or escape, that's when he meets himself. And that's when his energy begins to change. You can feel it when such a man walks into a room. He's not loud, he's not posturing, but his presence shifts the air. Because he's no longer asking the world for permission to exist, he already knows he belongs. This is what Ortega meant by nobility of spirit, the quiet dignity of one who carries his own meaning. He doesn't demand that others make his life significant. He brings significance to everything he touches. And paradoxically, that's when love starts to find him. Because now, he's no longer a weight to be carried. He's a force to lean on. A man who has mastered solitude doesn't chase connection. He attracts it effortlessly. Every woman feels the difference. One man seeks her to fill a void. The other shares his fullness. One drains, the other inspires. That is the architecture of respect. It's built from within, layer by layer, discipline by discipline, silence by silence. When you reach that state, you stop needing to prove anything. Your calm becomes louder than words. Your silence commands more attention than arguments. Your presence becomes the message. And the irony, the moment you stop trying to be respected, you become it. The final measure. Machiavelli said, "A prince must build his power on what he can control, himself. Because everything else, love, loyalty, admiration, rests on unstable ground. People change, feelings fade, fortune turns. But the man who commands himself can rebuild everything he loses. That's the truth most men avoid. You don't lose respect when life gets hard. You lose it when you stop holding your frame in the storm. Every test life gives you, a rejection, a betrayal, a failure, is not sent to break you, but to reveal where you've built your foundation on sand. When she pulls away, when the world goes silent, that's not your downfall, it's your audit. A moment to see what remains when everything external is stripped away. If you still stand with clarity, purpose, and calm, then you've passed the only test that matters. Because respect isn't granted by others, it's recognized when a man already carries it within. That's why you can't fake composure. You can't perform self-respect. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't, the world will expose it every time. The man who learns this stops chasing outcomes. He starts refining himself instead. He learns that mastery is not a single victory. It's a lifetime of small choices made with integrity. He becomes like a still flame, steady, luminous, impossible to extinguish. People feel it when he enters the room. Not because he tries to impress, but because his energy says, I am enough. I have direction. I am whole. And that's the paradox. The moment you stop begging for respect, you begin to radiate it. The moment you stop trying to be loved, you become magnetic. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology. He knew that power, like respect, doesn't come from dominance. It comes from self-command. So remember this. She doesn't fall for how much you chase her. She falls for how deeply you're grounded in yourself. Your calm is your power, your purpose is your attraction, and your consistency is your crown. The stillness and the flame. Heraclitus said, "The character of a man is his fate, not luck, not timing, not who loves you or leaves you, but the strength of your inner alignment. Because everything external is temporary. Money fades, beauty changes. But the man who stays true to his nature moves through time untouched. He doesn't need the world to stay still. He adapts without losing himself. He bends, but does not break. And that balance between firmness and flow is what separates strength from hardness, wisdom from pride. Life will keep testing your foundation. People will misunderstand you. Love will shift. But if your habits are strong, if your word remains consistent, if your purpose stays clear, you will endure. That's when silence becomes your teacher, pain becomes your sculptor, and solitude your training ground. Because the truth is, every man must face the fire. But not every man becomes refined by it. Most get burned. A few become light. So don't seek an easy path. Seek alignment. Don't chase comfort. Chase clarity. And when the storm comes, as it always does, breathe. Stand still. Remember who you are. Because the world doesn't respect men who never fall. It respects the ones who rise without losing their soul. No man steps in the same river twice. Everything flows. Everything changes. So wisdom isn't blind stubbornness, it's flexible strength. And sometimes, respect isn't lost because you did something wrong. It's lost because you finally revealed who you truly are. The mask slipped, and she saw a man without a center. Sartre called this bad faith, living as if you have no choice. But every moment is a choice, to stand or to yield, to build or to break. And every choice is a vote for the man you're becoming. She can feel when you keep voting for weakness. And when that happens, respect dies. Because respect is not a one-time event. It's a continuous measurement. She's always feeling it, through your tone, your posture, your silences. And once it's gone, you can't talk it back. You can only become the kind of man who naturally earns it again. Nietzsche spoke of the eternal return. If you had to live your life again and again forever, could you accept every moment exactly as it was? That's integrity. If your life is so solid you could repeat it endlessly without shame, you're on the right path. But if parts of you hide, if your choices come from fear, you're building on sand, and everyone can feel it. Here's a truth few understand. Respect is born from renunciation. Only when she knows you could walk away if necessary can she truly respect you. Because respect requires freedom, and freedom always includes the power to lose. Kierkegaard called it the leap of faith, risking everything for what is true. In love, it means the courage to lose so you don't lose yourself. And paradoxically, that's when she wants to stay, because now she knows you're free. But here's the final secret. Respect is never the goal, it's the side effect. It appears when you live with integrity, when your actions match your values, when your life becomes a quiet masterpiece. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, imagining everything that could go wrong. Not out of fear, but preparation. Because once you've accepted loss, you stop fearing it. And in that fearlessness, you become untouchable. So if you feel unseen, if her eyes pass through you, ask yourself, have you built a life with a center of your own? Do you hold your boundaries when it's hard? Have you faced your shadow, or do you keep running from it? These questions aren't easy. But the respected man doesn't avoid truth. He walks toward it. He knows he's unfinished, but he's building one day at a time. Voltaire said, "Outro, the courage to build." Because only that kind of life stands firm when everything else falls apart. And maybe that's what respect really is. not applause, not validation, not fear, but quiet alignment between what you say and what you live. It's waking up every day and choosing the harder path, not for recognition, but because your soul demands it. You don't need to prove your worth. You need to live it, in discipline, in silence, in the choices no one else will ever see. That's where respect is forged. That's where power is born. And that is where a man becomes unshakable.